You already know that an algebraic expression is made up of the sum of terms. But what are these terms made up of? These terms are made up of a product of their factors. So each term is made up of a product of its different factors. For example, consider the term 7xy. So 7xy is a term. It is made up of a product of its factors. What are the different factors of 7xy? 7, x, y, xy. These are some of the factors of the term 7xy. 7 is a numerical factor, whereas x, y, xy, these are algebraic factors. So if we consider the term 7xy, 7 is a numerical factor of this term, x is an algebraic factor, y is an algebraic factor, xy is an algebraic factor. So these are some of the factors of the term 7xy. Now a term can be written as a product of its factors. So we can write 7xy as 7 into xy. 7 is a factor of this term and xy is a factor of this term. So we can write 7xy as 7 into xy. But again, xy can be written as a product of further factors, that is x into y. So xy can be simplified further. So we can write 7xy as 7 into x into y. Now we cannot simplify these factors further. So we cannot reduce 7 or x or y to further factors. So we say that when 7xy is written in this form, it is written in irreducible form. That is irreducible form because the factors which are here cannot be simplified further or they cannot be reduced to further factors. So this is 7xy written in irreducible form. Now let us take one more example. So how can I write this in its irreducible form? 5x square y. So I can write it as 5 into x into x into y. So this is 5x square y written in its irreducible form. The factors are 5, x and y. So these are the different irreducible factors of 5x square y. Now consider the term 7xy. What is the numerical part of this term? 7. So the numerical part of this term is 7. Now there is a special name for the numerical part of a term. This is coefficient of the term. So the numerical part of a term is called the coefficient of the term. In this case, the coefficient of the term is 7. So for the term 7xy, the coefficient or the numerical part is 7. It is also called the numerical coefficient. Now, coefficients are also defined for different factors of a term. So if we consider this term, coefficients are also defined for different factors of this term like x, y, 7x, xy. So what is the coefficient of x? Now coefficient of x is whatever is left after removing x from the term. So consider this term. If we remove x from this term, we'll be left with 7y. So the coefficient of x in this term will be 7y. That is, whatever is left after removing x from the term is the coefficient of x in this term. That is 7y. What is the coefficient of 7y? Now if we remove 7y, we'll be left with x. So the coefficient of 7y is x. What is the coefficient of 7? If we take out 7, we'll be left with xy. And what will be the coefficient of xy? What is left after removing xy? The coefficient of xy will be 7. So, these are the coefficients of different factors of this term 7xy. But when we say only coefficient, we are referring to the coefficient of the term. So, if I say coefficient, I mean coefficient of the term and not the coefficient of different factors of the term. Also remember that coefficients are defined only for non-constant terms. That is only for the terms which have a variable part or an algebraic part. They are not defined for constant terms like 8, 5, whatever. So they are not defined for constant terms. They are defined only for the non-constant terms. Now can you tell me what is the coefficient of y in this term? So we see that what is the coefficient of y in this term? It means what is the numerical part attached with y in this term? So the numerical part is -3. So the coefficient of y in this term is -3. Remember, it is not 3, it is -3. We also take into account the negative sign if it is there. What is the coefficient of x square? X square can be written as 1 into x square, that is 1x square. So now what is the numerical part of x square? It is 1. So the coefficient of x square is 1. So when the coefficient of any algebraic part is 1, we may choose not to write it. In fact, normally, if the coefficient of a term is 1, we do not write it. We simply write it like this.